company, Joe and I, about 5 years ago. We were part of helping this team, and this was down in San Antonio, Texas. You can see, as I zoom out, this project is living in the real world on this map. It's geo-referenced. And when I begin to zoom in, notice information is toggling on contextually based on my level of zoom. The same way that a mapping engine would go from country, state, city, down to that Starbucks that you're looking for, right? Well, instead of just going to the Starbucks, we're going all the way down to, say, a sink, or a toilet, or a door frame, or a specific dimension. Now, what's really cool about this is when you start geo-referencing your project information, you can start correlating it in many different ways that you've never been able to before. So everything's layer-based. So the same way that you would overlay traffic or weather with, say, a satellite map, we're doing the same thing but with the actual design layer. So right now, I'm looking at the floor plan for level 1 on the architectural. If I wanted to go up to level 2, I can quickly just toggle that on and toggle off level 1 if I want to. Or I can do that a little bit cooler using what we call the elevator button down here at the bottom right. I can swipe up to level 3. I can see if my internet, there we go. And then I can swipe up to level 4, all the way up to the roof. Notice what's happening on the left side is it's just toggling on and off those respective layers. So let's say though that it's not only the architectural I'm wanting to look at, but also maybe do a little bit of coordination, and I want to toggle on level 2 framing plan for the structural. And think of this as kind of your digital 2D light table. If you love using overlay in Bluebeam, notice the great thing about this is I'm not having to do align points because everything's already geo-referenced. So I just toggle it on. And then I can actually change the style of this on the fly. If I want this to be, let's say, red, or if I want it to be blue, and then I could, let's say, dim the opacity down on the architectural, and then I want to carry those parameters to the next floor. So I'm going to hit my elevator button and go up to level 3. And notice that it carried those same settings. So you can actually coordinate between levels very easily with these layers and these overlays. Okay, the next thing that I want to show you is that we also allow you to bring in and correlate between many other base layers, such as right now I just have a street map on, but I could also really easily just toggle on the satellite view. So notice that, of course, that project's already been built. That's why we're seeing the satellite image of that building. But then we can also even do weather. I could turn on the radar. It's asking, do I want to zoom out? And yes, I want to zoom out so that I can see it. Let's see if we have any rain in the area of San Antonio. I doubt we do on this really nice day. Oh, there we go, down in the Gulf we do. And what we could also do is maybe we're sitting in an OAC meeting and owner is saying, hey, why are you guys so far behind? Well, we could actually show precipitation for the last 7 days. And we could say, hey, if our project was right here, we got a pretty good excuse, right, on why we're behind now. So what's really cool about this is when you start really correlating different data sources that you've never had before, right? You'd go into a weather app to see this. What we're trying to do is now allow you to connect all of the data that relates to your project in a geospatial form. So now I'm going to just zoom back into the project. And we also give you the ability, of course, satellite imagery isn't always up to date, right? But drones, of course, are becoming our eye in the sky on the job site. So we've actually built an integration with a company that we love called Drone Deploy. I'm actually going to go to a different project. Notice how easy it is to switch projects. I can just click on my little avatar. I can say all projects. It takes me back to my main map. And then I can search for that next project that I want to jump into. So it's really fantastic whenever now you have all of your projects in your pocket. You ever want to go back and say, how did we do it on that one job? You can just search for that job and go right back to it. Now, in this example, this is a project that's currently using Atlas. So I didn't really mention that, but projects are actually using this app already. It hasn't been released commercially yet, but we are onboarding very selective projects so that we're making sure that as we're developing this, we're doing it with a constant feedback loop and getting great feedback from the field, from the trenches, from the office, and where the work's going in place. So what you're seeing here is some pier overlay with the drone imagery. Notice how accurate it is. I mean, we can put these right on top of where they're supposed to go. And this gives you that ability to do quality control from the comfort of the trailer. It's pretty unbelievable. We've never really had this ability before. Let me give you another example. So what I just did was this little star is what we call a saved view. So we allow you to save views on the project that you might want to come back and reference at a later date, or maybe pull up in a meeting. And this is one that's showing utilities going in on this project. And this is a reinforced concrete pipe that you're seeing here. And what traditionally happens is, right, when our subcontractor is billing us and sending us a pay application, they're telling us how much actually got installed. And they're saying, hey, we installed 250 feet of RCP this week. And what I can quickly do in Atlas is just click this little plus down at the bottom left, and this is kind of my quick map tool. And I'm gonna put that crosshair right on the end here, and I'm gonna click the measurement tool, and notice I'm not having to calibrate. It's all real world scale. So I can just do a quick measurement, and I can see actually 169 feet was installed. So pay app rejected, all right? You're overbilling me. So really cool things that we're able to do now with being able to overlay that information in a geospatial map. But overlay is not the only thing that makes Atlas powerful. So let's look at some of the other features and functionality. So if you look right here, you notice that what we've been talking about mainly is layers. The ability to overlay different types of layer information. But there's other features as well, such as what we call docs, and this allows you to connect many different data sources and bring that data into Atlas, which is then tied to the map. And I'll show you what I mean by that. So for starters, Atlas was built as an open platform, API first. So we're going to be integrating with a lot of the best tools in the industry. And you can see here, these are some that we currently have today. We have Box, Dropbox, Ignite, Google Drive, ShareFile, SharePoint. We started with a lot of the document storage solutions just because we know that a lot of your project information is already living in one of these systems. So how great is it when you can just sign in with your credentials, connect it, and now what we do is we use a service with AWS, Amazon Web Services, called Elasticsearch. And what that does is we scrape all the text out of the document, not just the file name, but also in the document. And then we associate that with keywords that are either found on the map or just that you want to search in the search bar. So what I mean by that is if I want to click on this section cut here, we would expect this to be able to take me to that drawing, right? We already have the ability in Bluebeam to create batch hyperlinks that give us the ability to open up a drawing that's referenced somewhere else. So we're giving that same ability, but this isn't actually a hyperlink. This is utilizing that Elasticsearch feature to allow you to reference those texts. But we do have a PDF viewer built in, hyperlinks that were created in Bluebeam pre-existing that were synced in. Those also work as long as they're relative path hyperlinks. So I could click on an RFI that was hyperlinked to a drawing. All of that works within the viewer inside Atlas as well. So really what the map starts becoming is, think of it as more of a table of contents to get you to the information faster. The point is, we've done a great job the last 5 to 6 years of digitizing our information. It's still challenging to access what we need just because all the files are digital, right? So what we're trying to do is utilize location to help you filter to that information. Now, you can also use the map as a map. Maybe my superintendent says, hey Todd, I need you to go check, see if the blocking is installed for the handrail and the stair number 2. Well, I can sit here and I can say, I just got on this project yesterday and I don't know which stair number 2 is, but I can click on it and it shows me where stair number 2 is. Now you can imagine the really cool possibilities around wayfinding that we're going to be able to build out into the future. Not just being able to say, here's stair number 2, but also route you there. And actually, through integrations with, let's say, scheduling platforms, we could even begin to look at what's occurring on the project and give you the fastest, most efficient path. So if flooring's being laid down on level 3, we're not going to route you through stair 2, because that's where all the material's going up through. We're going to bring you up stair 1. So these are the really exciting things that we can do in the future once we lay this foundation of tying information to location. So remember how I was saying that all the text is indexed in Elasticsearch? Well, what that allows us to then do is any of the text you see on the map, not just the details, section cuts, elevations, all of it is clickable. I can click on MRI, and now it just ran a search through my project of anywhere MRI is referenced. So we've kind of been dubbed the Google the Google Maps of construction when we're trying to build this. That's not our goal. Our goal is to be Google search of construction. We want to where you can quickly just type in a keyword and pull that up. Sometimes it's easier though when you don't remember what you're looking for, but you know the area, to just zoom into that area and click on it, right? If I don't remember what the name of that room was, or the room tag, or the door tag, I can just click on that. Okay, so the next thing I want to show you is posts. This is how we can begin to start placing data geospatially on top of the map. So this can consist of a variety of different pieces of information, such as progress photos, videos, 360 imagery. But the cool thing about this is that when this video is taken and it's being pinned to the map, it's actually pinned in the exact latitude, longitude of where the video was recorded. Now think of that as an audit trail for your project, knowing where that photo was taken before that underground was covered up or that ceiling tile. Now, doesn't have to just be progress, it could also be issues, punch list, completion items. This is just a photo showing where the base needs to be repaired. But now the really cool thing of this, especially whenever you're following up on an issue report or a list that you're walking on the job, the thing that was always frustrating for me with many other issue tracking solutions was that I was always having to filter down to the location that I was at. I was having to go through some sort of parent to child hierarchy relationship. What's great about this is you know where you are in the building a lot of times. Sometimes you don't, but it's pretty easy to just zoom in and notice that the map window contextually filters the results that are in view. So if I'm walking a corridor or I walk into a room and I say, just show me the item in this room, I just zoom into that room and then I can have that pre-filtered list. And when I click on the item, I see the specific details that relate to it. So in these posts, think of these posts as almost folders of data, okay, that are living on the map. So in other words, the map itself becomes your file cabinet, right? Traditionally, when we were paper-based, we had our file cabinets, we had our folders within them, and then we had the actual individual RFIs, submittals, shop drawings, we had our plan table, all that. What we've done through digitization is we've digitized that same structure, and what we're challenging is now, rather than just keeping the same structure of having a file cabinet to folder, to nested folder, to file, we build in space. That's what we build in construction, or spaces, whether it be a building or a bridge, it all has a location. So if we begin to store the information where it relates, whether it was a change order, an RFI, maybe it's a warranty. Imagine this now whenever you're turning over your building or your project to the owner, they have a map of all their data living where it lives. Whether it be, I don't know, there's a lot of random stuff in here. Here we go, here's kitchen tile data. So you could have specific product data or warranty tied to that location. Say it's a chiller, and you want to tie the startup report or a maintenance video to that location. That's what I mean by information by location. Okay, there's some other really cool things that once you start storing all of this in this geospatial format, we can also visualize this data in many different ways. And actually, before I show you this, I'm going to show you how easy it is to just create one of these posts. So let's say that I had an issue with this door right here. I can just either right-click on desktop or on mobile. I can just click this little plus. You see my quick map tool again. I can bring that up. Wherever that crosshair is in the center, that's where it's going to place the post. So let's just say that we're having some door hardware issues on this door. And I'm going to just place it right there. I'm going to drop the post. It now allows me to name it. I'm going to just say adjust door hardware. Oops, if I can spell. And then I could change this whatever color I want. Now, we still are building a lot of this out. So you're seeing kind of what's in the app today. We're building out our own form of status issue templates. A lot of the stuff Scott was sharing earlier where he had his own, you saw he kind of had his own issue templates he built in his tool set. We're building a lot of that into the app as well. But currently, we're letting you set your own kind of color. We have projects where they're saying like, hey, all the red stand for RFIs, all the blue stand for submittals, we're kind of letting them go to that. But the color will probably be tied to status once the product is commercially released. Now, what you're seeing on this is I added a title, I have a color. Notice it has the latitude, longitude of where this is in the real world. And then I can also assign tags to it, custom tags. These are set up by the project team. You get to choose what's said here. But let's just say that this is an issue. And you know what? I'll say it's an open issue. I don't know. We'll just leave it as issue. I think that's easy. You can have multiple tags though if you so choose. Notice that right now, Todd, I'm sharing this with everyone on my project. Well, I might not want everyone to see it. So I can also just turn that off and say, I just want to share this with Sean or Carissa. And now you're seeing Todd is sharing this with Sean or Carissa. We're building out assignment, which allows due date and things like that. Currently, it's just on a sharing basis. We're also building out something else pretty cool where we call it groups. So you'll be able to have custom groups that could be based on phase of the project or company, or maybe you have a tower group and a podium group, or maybe you have demolition group, or it could be phase, it could be a lot of things, but you're going to be able to assign these items to groups or individuals. And then from here I can just start attaching documents. Notice when I click on documents, it's pulling from those integrations. And you can see that on my profile, I actually have many different connected. I have ShareFile, Google Drive, Box, Dropbox, Procore, and I can start pulling data from those systems. So it becomes an aggregator, which is really nice. And I can click on any of these. I'll just click on this box and say, I want these documents to live in this post. And I could also come back and add a comment or a photo, and this becomes kind of a running feed, just like a Twitter or a Facebook post, right? It's kind of a little take on social media on the job site, but tied to a location. Okay, what I told you before I showed you how to create a post was I was going to show you new ways to visualize this data, and one of those ways that we're letting you do is through what we basically give you a heat map. So notice I'm looking at all the posts that are on level 1, and that's pretty hard to get any good insights out of, but I can filter the data, and I could say, well, I just want to see posts that are tagged with issue. And now I'm getting some visual insight. Now I'm being able to see where am I winning or losing on the project right now. You know, Scott was showing you his flow lines on the project, and they were moving from like an east to west kind of thing. Well, if this project had east to west flow lines, and I have the electrician, he's working over here to try to resolve these issues when really I need him out of this area, this allows me to visually see that very quickly. And without having this visual, how else do you do it normally? Well, you're looking through your list, you're talking to your subs, you're having to try to put that information together. Instead of it taking minutes or hours, it should take seconds. We're moving into 2019. This technology exists. We just need to start bringing it to the job site. Okay. The next thing I want to show you is that this isn't just about connecting your project information in the sense of documents to georeferencing in the real world. It's also all your project information. What we really want Atlas to become is the foundation for the connected job site. So what I mean by that, the connected job site, I mean connecting documents, connecting people, equipment, materials, tools. Let me show you what I mean by that. So once you're in this geospatial world, I'm going to turn off these posts, and I'm going to open up what we call Team. So this is the first phase of this, where we're actually, if you've ever used Find My Friends on your iPhone, we've built that into Atlas essentially for the team. So I can say, where's Sean on the project right now? Now, I know what you're thinking, privacy issues, big brother's watching me, they want to know where I am at all times. That's not what we're after with this. What this is about finding new ways to communicate and collaborate on the job site, ways we've never even thought of before. And let me show you what I mean by that. I'm going to show you a video because we haven't built all this out yet, but it'll hopefully give you a good idea of where we're going. So what you're going to see in this video example, this is a project that Rogers O'Brien's actually using Atlas on right now, called the Highland Park United Methodist Church. And when this loads up, there we go, we can see that their design information is georeferenced. They're using the drone deploy integration. Now you're seeing a more recent, up-to-date orthomosaic of the site. And then when we turn the posts on, you can see different information that's being tracked on top of the map. Issues, safety hazards, progress reports. But then this is where I want to open y'all's imagination to where we're going to be changing the way we communicate and collaborate. So we turned on Find Team. You can see where these individuals are. But notice at the bottom, below their name, you see where it says message and video call. What's amazing to me is how many times I was seeing guys in the field using FaceTime to just relay information to someone who was back in the trailer. Or maybe it's the architect or engineer or waterproofing consultant. Well, the beauty of this is we can bring this technology straight into the app and allow you to have that telepresence conversation. And the really exciting part about this is what happens after you have that FaceTime right now? Well, you just have to remember what was said, right? But imagine if we can take that recorded video call and now embed it on the map in the latitude, longitude where that decision was made. One day this will disrupt the RFI process. We shouldn't wait a week to 2 weeks to get an answer. We should be able to communicate effectively to each other to where we can have an answer to move forward immediately. So in this example, what this video depicted was a project manager being able to connect with his site foreman or superintendent to be able to see what was the progress of the excavation and then be able to add that information to his updated report on the map. So you see this with people and communication. By the way, it is all opt-in on sharing your locations. You can turn it off if you don't want to share it. But I will challenge you on this, that if Google didn't know where you were, it'd be a lot less useful, wouldn't it? To be able to navigate you contextually to things that you're looking for. So now imagine that as well, walking the job site, when we can start providing you predictive insights, contextual notifications, saying, hey, I see that you're walking through 103 corridor. Can you check on this issue and see if it's open? That Alexa for your project, Siri, that job site assistant, one day, I'm not saying this is coming next year, but it is definitely a foundation that we're building for, and our goal is to be able to provide that project engineer with their next move based on data that we're seeing on the project. The next thing I want to show you is just a quick video on where we see this going with safety. Once you have all this information georeferenced, including the people, in this example, we were working with some ultra wideband frequency. It's radio frequency because GPS doesn't work great in buildings, as we all know. So this is an example of where we had defined a controlled access zone on the map and then had the worker walk into that zone, and we were able to provide contextual awareness that you're not supposed to be in this area. And we lit up the vest. Now, what's more realistic in version 1 will probably just be like giving them a push notification on their phone saying, hey, you're not supposed to be here. And if they do it again, the push notification goes to the safety director on site saying, hey, Donovan's going in that area again. Imagine though if someone gets hurt and you're able to send out an Amber Alert and show exactly where that person is on the map to get that defibrillator to them. I mean, these are the things that we can leverage technology to truly save lives. I hate to bring it down, but it's true. I mean, statistics show that 3 people will die today in the United States in construction. It's absolutely ridiculous. And we see the signs on the road saying, hey, don't text and drive. Well, self-driving cars are going to fix that, right? Well, technology is going to fix people not taking safety personally on the job site. So we want to be a part of that as well. Now, the last thing I want to show you here is where it gets really exciting about what the future looks like. So once all this information is geo-referenced, we can begin leveraging other new forms of technology that seem like science fiction, but it's not. So we're also building augmented reality into this platform. And what you're seeing here is that same project where you're seeing those posts on the map. And since those carry that latitude, longitude, we can give you a Pokemon Go experience for the job site. But instead of collecting all the monsters, you gotta go solve all the issues. So I actually brought a recent build of this application with me today to do a live demo for you. We've made some improvements to it, and you guys will be one of the first to see this. So let me see if I can